So today I have Kristen Prinz, who is the founder and managing partner of Prinz Law Firm, which specializes in employment law. She's the managing partner. She's also a mother of two kids and wife, and first time obviously dealing with the COVID crisis. So wanted her on here. Thank you very much, Kristen, for joining.
Thanks, Benny. This is great. It's nice to just connect with people as much as possible.
Absolutely. So you and I were talking about a couple of different things, and I'll just kind of get to the questions right away and have you, the expert, answer. So with all the working from home, all the remote stuff that's happening right now, most companies don't have specific policies for reimbursements, and I've had a couple of people that ask me about if if their companies should reimburse them for their cell phone and internet. So I figured I'd ask you.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Even for us, we moved so quickly to working from home, especially for our administrative employees who hadn't been doing that prior. And we didn't have a reimbursement policy for them. And some of them were using their own equipment. And it became apparent to me when I was talking to some clients, because we advise clients all the time, you need to have a reimbursement policy, especially now in Illinois. So yes, they should have a policy, have a specific number. It doesn't have to be a percentage of the actual cost, and it doesn't have to be the actual cost because you assume employees are using their personal internet for personal reasons as well. But for those who are using their personal internet, their personal laptop or a phone, you want to give them some amount, and it would be best to have different amounts for different purposes. Typically with the cell phone, for employees that are going to be on lots of calls, we typically use a number like $50 a month. We would do reimbursement. And now for our firm, we're doing a $50 a month reimbursement on personal internet as well, but it doesn't have to be that. So I think it really depends on how much you think the employee is going to use their personal equipment and what the actual value. So there's different markets, and the cost in different markets might be different, but in Illinois, it is required.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. The other question was, so obviously a lot of businesses have applied for the loans, but while they're waiting for the funds to come in, what advice, what suggestions do you have to help them with their cash flow while they're waiting?
Yeah, there's a lot of confusion here because at least for the payroll protection program loan, which is the forgivable loan, people are afraid, that they can't maybe cut compensation for team members or that they can't cut staff and still get the money. But the money could be taking a while. I mean, some people I know have actually gotten at least approval, and very few people I know have actually gotten the money. But for a lot of us, it's taking a long time to actually see the money in the bank. And so you can cut staff temporarily, like furlough staff maybe for 1 or 2 payroll periods until you get the money and then bring them back. In fact, for people who want the forgiveness, sometimes what they're doing is they're bringing them back, but they know that after the money's gone, they're probably still not going to have the work. And so they might have to furlough again. Just communicate with employees and tell them why you're making the decision. Another creative thing to do is to temporarily cut compensation. Make sure you're transparent there too. I always say more communication is better. And one thing some people have asked me, you cannot retroactively cut compensation or retroactively furlough. So make sure that you're giving some advance notice if you are making any of these decisions. One other thing I've seen some companies do that's a little bit creative is rotating shifts. So to save on cash flow, but also to protect the health of their employees, they're dividing employees into groups, either like 2 or 3 groups, so that if anybody does get sick in one of the groups, they're not going to infect your whole team. So you have people working together at different times. So you can do that where you can have shift work, and that can save on cash flow as well. If you're saying this third of the team works this week, this third works next week, and oftentimes that gives your employees an opportunity to maybe get some unemployment during that time as well. So it can be something that's mutually beneficial. So people aren't just going without any income, or they're not just being cut on their income. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah. So if I heard you correctly, are you saying that like if you do the different shifts per each week, if employees are furloughed for week one, but they're going back to work on week two and are furloughed on week three, for the weeks that they're on furlough, they can get unemployment?
Yeah, they can get unemployment. And the way unemployment works is you have to certify the first time that you're applying. And then you do have to call in each week, even when you're working, and either let them know that you've earned income or didn't earn income for that week. So it would be an ongoing process.
Got it. Okay. Well, that sounds good. Thanks for being very clear, concise, and to the point with that. I really appreciate it. And I always ask everyone that I do this with, what advice do you have for business leaders right now, especially like your target market, with everything that's going on?
Stay calm, think things through. I mean, a lot of things are changing pretty rapidly. And yes, we have to make some quick decisions that are oftentimes hard. And I would say try and make the tough decisions quickly, but also thoughtfully, and go. I would say overestimate, be overly cautious. I've seen this with a client where we did compensation cuts, but they wanted to be really generous with the team, and so they didn't want to have very drastic cuts. And then 2 weeks later, we're making another cut. And I think that just creates so much uncertainty for employees. You're better off hitting it hard the first time and being compassionate about it and letting them know why you're doing that than coming back multiple times and saying, oh, okay, well, that didn't do it. We still don't have enough cash flow, or that didn't do it. And you might still have to do that. You might have to furlough people at a certain point, but the repeated cuts just cuts. So we're all in an uncertain time right now. And so the more you could do for your team to create some level of certainty, the better.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense. Well, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. And you're the first person that I'm doing with that actually got a new mic from. So look,
Good. Well, hopefully we have the best sound quality then, right?
yeah, otherwise that'd be weird. So sounds good. Thanks a lot, Kristen.
Thanks, Benny.
Mm-mm-mm.